my name is Patty, and welcome to this week's episode of the Manifesting Me Show. I am talking to you about relationships and, more importantly, the relationship you have with yourself. So, the importance of developing a relationship with yourself is the importance is that it then benefits every other relationship you have in your life, be it with friends, with family, romantic relationship, partners, colleagues. All external relationships are benefited by you developing, nurturing, and maintaining a healthy relationship with yourself. So I'm going to talk to you today about some things about that. And the problem that one of the problems that I'm addressing today in this episode is that oftentimes we look to the relationships with others first to fulfill the needs or wants or desires that we have, right? We want other people to make us feel special, or we look to other people to make us feel special. We look to other people to do things for us that we want, to maybe help us feel a way that we want to feel. So we look to others to fulfill us in whatever way that is. And instead, I invite you to focus on developing and really making the relationship with yourself the focus, because whether you've thought about it this way or not before, the relationship that you have with yourself, the relationship that we all have with ourselves, is the longest relationship you will have with anybody. It's the longest relationship you're ever going to have. It's the one that you have literally your entire life. It's the one that you have your entire life. It's the only one that you have your entire life, right? There's other very long relationships that we all have, of course, but it's the only relationship that is with us from beginning to end in whatever way that we happen to treat it or work on it or whatever the case is that way. So the outcome of doing this, by strengthening your relationship with yourself, you can then, or you will then, attract relationships of all kinds that support and align with how you relate to yourself. And that's relationships of all kinds, with friends, with family, again, romantic partners, business colleagues. Any relationship at all is affected. So I have a few tips, if you will, or perspectives, or just like talking points, really is probably the best way to categorize them. And then some suggestions for ways that you can continue or learn or get support in doing the things that I talk about. So first of all, ideas, just a few, just kind of pointing out some ideas on ways to develop a relationship with yourself to attract the type of relationship that you want. And I'm doing very general and very bullet point talking points here, because this isn't like a class. It's simply to help you become aware and give you a place to start. So let's start with romantic relationships. If you want to attract or have or be in a romantic relationship, let's say if you don't have one, that's what you want, or if you're in one and you can either, maybe you're looking to improve it, or if things are going great, why not be proactive and do things to keep it good and make it even better? So for this, generally, this is things that I've talked about or worked with clients or in workshops about in masterminds. So these are just very generally speaking. So in romantic relationships, if you want to attract, improve, amplify what's good, etc., take yourself out on dates. Have that relationship with yourself. Do the things that you want to be doing in a partnership, romantic, whatever that looks like for you, relationship. This is specifically to the point if you're not currently in a relationship and you are looking to be, attend the activities that you would like to be doing, on a date or with someone else. Go to the events that you would love to go to with someone else. Go to the restaurants, whatever, date activity, if you will, or just partnership activity. Do these things, go out and do them, try them, experience them, because guess what? There's the type of people that like doing those things there too. So there is a greater likelihood that you will encounter someone also in the position that you are, that is open to or looking or, even open to a relationship. So do the things. Take yourself out to a nice restaurant. Get dressed up. I actually talked with someone on a coaching level once, and actually it was in a mastermind, and the recommendation, and she did this, and that's why I'm sharing it with you. It's like, get dressed up and take yourself out on a date, even if it's a date night in. And so what she did that. She ordered a pizza, she had some wine, and she got dressed up. Not like fancy ball gown type dressing, but just get dressed up like you're going out for pizza night. But she did that for herself, to help to feel that way with herself and to put that energy out there. So have a date night in, order food, but watch the romantic comedies or whatever you would be watching. It doesn't have to always be fancy. It doesn't have to always be a big event. But this is just generally speaking. Do the things that you would want to be doing in a relationship. A relationship with friends. Be your own best friend, whatever that looks like. And that can be being a friend to your current self, to your younger self through journaling or other activities, maybe art or meditating, whatever it is. Visualizing is what I'm looking for. Visualizing, journaling, and being your own best friend. What would you want someone to have told you? Tell it to yourself. Go back and revisit that situation. What would you love in a best friend? Do that type of thing for yourself. Do the nice things that you would do for a friend. Do them for yourself. If you would buy a friend a cup of coffee, or if you would send them a message or something, it might sound silly, but send yourself a message, a little text message, or send an email and schedule it to go out to yourself. Maybe take a picture of a Post-it and have a message to yourself on your phone. There is no one size fits all. So find ways, or be creative in your thinking on how you can be your own best friend. And then relationships with family members. This one is a little bit different, but I still think it applies, because a lot of times we have, such a long relationship or an ongoing issue. Like, I think of the family holidays, like Thanksgiving and Christmas, where so many people talk about like, it's like a war zone, or whatever the comments that people make. And so this one, I say, for better family relationships, I'm recommending that you start with setting boundaries for yourself that support you. So, and boundaries do not have to be something that you make known to other people. There are boundaries that do need to be made known. But for example, because we're talking about being in a relationship with yourself. So if you know that there are situations coming up, or that situations have arisen in the past that trigger you, that lead to an argument, that lead to frustration, have a plan for yourself. Like, say, if something starts to happen that has always happened before, have an exit strategy. Go take a walk. Say you're not participating in this anymore. Say, change the subject. Bring someone else into the conversation. I don't know. Say you have to run to the store, even if you don't. Or say you have to go to the bathroom, even if it's 10 times during the get together. Let them feel that's better that than say, man, she's going to the bathroom a lot, than, allowing yourself to, or allowing the pattern or the thing that happens all the time to repeat. And it might feel awkward and people might say things, but isn't that better than going through that cycle again? Be your own advocate. Be that relationship with yourself. If you want boundaries honored by others, start with honoring and establishing those boundaries and following through with them for yourself. Again, the other person doesn't have to know that's your boundary, that you're going to take a walk, or when the conversation starts heading in that direction, you have a plan to redirect it or to go to the bathroom. They don't need to know that. You need to know that, and you need to follow through. So that's talking point, or part one, different types of relationships and how to improve the relationship with yourself within that context to either improve, attract, improve those external relationships. And part two, I have a series of questions that you can ask yourself or walk yourself through when you're journaling or in the moment, but relating specifically to relationships. So, and you will fill in whatever type of relationship or apply it to the type of relationship that you're focusing on in that moment or at that time. And the first question is, how do I want to feel in this relationship? So how do you want to feel in a romantic relationship? How do you want to feel in a relationship with your friends or your best buddies? How do you want to feel in the relationship with a family member or with your family in general? And so when you identify that, this can be things like comforted, secure, safe, which is very similar, supported, heard, seen, honored. There's an infinite number of descriptive and feeling words that you can apply. So how do you want to feel in that relationship? That's question one. Then the next question is, what can I do to feel that way right now? And so that means, let's say if you want to feel heard, practice saying the things that you want to say. Practice speaking your opinion to yourself at first. Write it down in a journal. Practice saying that you want to say in a mirror or as you're riding or driving in the car. Practice doing the things that will make you feel that way now. And at this point, it doesn't even have to be specifically related to the relationship. If you want to feel safe and secure in a relationship, what are things that you can do in your environment or for yourself that help you feel safe and secure? So it does have to do with the relationship externally, but again, it always comes back to you. And so by feeling safe and secure in your environment, you can apply that feeling and say, okay, this is how it feels in this space. This is how I attained that feeling of safety and security or being heard or whatever it is in this circumstance. How can I transfer that and, implement that? Or what can I do now in this situation to feel that way? The third question is, what stories are coming up? What are you realizing, as you go through and implement questions 1 and 2? What stories are coming up? What triggers? What reasons for this behavior? Why haven't you, treated yourself kindly in the past? Why have you continually attracted a romantic partner with the same types of issues? It's because you haven't yet addressed or healed or worked through that issue with yourself. You haven't addressed that story. And so you will keep attracting the things that teach you that lesson or that are there to teach you that lesson. So what are you realizing? What stories are coming up for you? And then the last question is, how can it look, be, or feel differently moving forward? So if these are the things I've learned, and this is how I want to feel, and these are the actions I've taken to feel that way, how can it look different if I continue with these things, can this relationship improve? Can I attract a partner that does not have commitment issues by committing to myself? So I know it's very broad strokes, and I do that on purpose, but I also put myself in a pickle because I don't have a specific thing to relate to. But I also invite that kind of broadness, or I create that broadness so that you can apply it to your specific situations. And if you're really feeling stuck, I invite you to either comment wherever you're watching this, or on the replay, or you can always email me or message me. The email to reach me is vision, VISION, at bluemoonmanifestations.com. And so if you're stuck or you're not really finding a way to apply these things, feel free to comment or message me and I will respond, right? And we'll see where we can go from there. And then the third tip, if you will, is to work with the lunar cycle. The questions I just asked, those 4 questions that I walked you through, they actually align with the 4 main quarters of the lunar cycle: the new moon, the first quarter moon, the full moon, and the third quarter moon. And so that is basically walking yourself through that lunar cycle with those questions. So how do I want to feel in this relationship? That's at the new moon. Setting that intention. How do you want to feel? What can I do to feel that way now? That aligns with the first quarter moon. That's that taking action phase of the lunar cycle. So what can I do to feel the way that I want to feel, which is my intention? And then what stories are coming up? What am I realizing? That is the full moon question, because that is where the moon is its biggest and brightest, and it's shining its light and revealing those shadows. And the shadows are the stories. They are the triggers that you're realizing. They are the lessons. They're like, oh my gosh, now I see where this is coming from. It's because of this story that either was passed on to me or that I created myself. And that's why I'm reacting this way. And so it shines a light on those, or it shines a light to reveal the shadows. And then the 4th question, how can it look, feel or be different? That's the third quarter moon, where you're imagining a new way of being, a better way of being, a different way of being. How can life, or how can this relationship look different? So those 4 questions walk through the 4 main quarters of the lunar cycle. And so you can work with the lunar cycle by setting intentions at the new moon, taking action at the quarter moon, realizing what's coming up and the lessons at the full moon, and then imagining and visualizing a new way forward to help you set, again, the next intention at the new moon. So this ties in beautifully, because developing a relationship with the moon is really a beautiful way to develop and nurture and maintain a healthy relationship with yourself. The reason being, it's because the moon relates to our emotions. It's associated with our emotions, our inner emotions. It is associated, or it relates to how we want or need to be nurtured and how we nurture other people. It helps identify those stories because of the internal work that you're doing on yourself to then affect the external circumstances or the external relationships. Now, you can definitely do this work. You can go through those questions. You can do the work of developing a relationship with yourself without working with the lunar cycle. It's not contingent, or it's not a requirement that you work with the lunar cycle or even have anything to do with the moon. It's just what I love to do, right? But yes, you can do this without having a thing to do with the moon, still work through those same questions or those types of questions and do the work on beginning with yourself. But if you want to learn more about working with the lunar cycle, becoming the rock star of your life, becoming the person who has and is living the experiences that you have, and has and is experiencing the relationships that you want, then I invite you to head over to the Moon Manifesting Rockstars Facebook group. It is my free community, and I have 2 calls every month there, one for the new moon and one for the full moon, where it's a Q&A. It's a moon manifesting mentorship call where I talk about the zodiac that the moon is in, how to work with that phase, and applying these questions to the different areas of your life. So if this interests you, or you want to even get an idea about what it's about what it's like, I should say, then head over. There will be a link somewhere around where you're seeing or listening to this. And the day that I'm recording this on February 7th, like I said. The next new moon is on February 9th. And so that's going to be the next new moon live in the Facebook group. If Facebook is not your thing, or you don't want to be in a group, or whatever the reason is, it is also available on my YouTube channel, the New Moon and Full Moon Lives. And both of those places have the replays available as soon as the live is over. So join me in the group. The next call is on February 9th, in just a couple days. And if you're listening to this well in the future where this is past, join anyway, because I have those calls every month, like I said. So head on over, send me a message, or let me know if you need help. There will be a link somewhere around where you can get there. And then if you really want to dive a little bit more, again, it's DIY. I have a course. It's a course, but there's no live component there. It's recorded lessons, and it's called Manifesting Me with the Moon. And this is a digital course that I created for every single new moon of the zodiac. So starting with Aries, which is the start of the zodiac calendar. And so the new moon going through each of the zodiacs, and types of intentions that are supported by that zodiac, things, associations that you can incorporate in your work with that during that lunar cycle. Each lesson, it's a recorded lesson, about 15 minutes ish. You can listen to and jump in at any time. Again, it's DIY, and you can use it over and over and over as we go through the lunar calendar or the zodiac calendar. And you will learn things that, like associations, like essential oils that go with each moon, goddesses, planet, chakra, elements associated with each zodiac. And I am this year, it seems like every year I add a new component to that course. This year I am adding a playlist associated with each of the zodiac signs that you can use, or maybe it will inspire you to create your own playlist. And again, you will be able to get that. I do need to put my glasses on. If you're watching this on a video format at all, I do need to put my glasses on so I can put the link in here for you guys. And let's see. I may have to add it in the comments. I think that is probably the best way. Or actually, because the link doesn't show up the same, you can always email me if you're listening to this on a podcast platform, vision@bluemoonmanifestations.com. And if you're in a space consuming this or watching this where you can type a comment, then simply write moon, and then I'll send you the link so you can check out the course, and then the group should be available somewhere as well. And that's what I have for you guys. So in a recap, the 3 tips that I have for you about developing a relationship with yourself is look to yourself to see how you can affect or attract the external relationships. We talked about romantic relationships, friendships, and then family relationships. Tip 2 is to ask yourself those 4 questions that align with the 4 quarters of the lunar cycle, the 4 main quarters of the lunar cycle. And then work with the moon, develop a relationship with the moon which will help you develop and nurture this relationship with yourself. So thank you guys so much for being here. And if you have any other topics or things that you would like me to talk about, I invite you to send those to me on email as well, or comment. I am always looking for ideas and for things that you guys are looking to learn about. So I will talk to you guys soon. Take care.